Good morning. Welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. I'm Tony Haggerty at Haggerty10 on the Twitter handle, as you can see, and I'm joined today by Aidan Macdonald. Usually I call him young Aidan Macdonald, but I've dropped the young now, haven't I? At Aidan C. Macdonald on the Twitter handle. Good morning, Aidan. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, Tony. How are you?
Yes, very good, very good. It's Wednesday, the 19th of April. Just quick check the calendar there, and we'll get flying into all sorts of stuff Celtic in a second. But first and foremost, as we always do every morning, we direct you to the ticker tape running along the bottom. And if you haven't subscribed, then you've got to subscribe this week or before the deadline, Aidan, because what can you do? You can win 2 tickets for the Scottish Cup semi-final against Rangers at Hampden Park on Sunday, April the 30th. You can win 2 tickets for that if you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. It'll cost you £4 for 4 months of unlimited access to everything that's written on the Celtic Way website, and all for a click of a button. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Aidan, tell them to get involved.
Yeah, no, definitely, guys. You should be getting yourself involved in this if you're not already subscribed, as well as the opportunity to win the tickets, which we know is a big sort of coup for a lot of people. You've also got access to tactical pieces from StatsBomb, columns from our weekly columnist Kevin McKenna, big interviews, one of which we're going to talk about today from people like Tony, etc. So subscribe, guys, if you're not already involved.
Excellent. And we also say thank you to our sponsors, SENECA, and everybody knows if they're regulars, the Celtic Way Morning Briefing is now sponsored by SENECA Medical Group, and SENECA are the #1 hair transplant company in Europe, and they offer innovative hair restoration treatments, and you can find out more about SENECA via the links in the description of this video. Now, guys, if you do subscribe, what happens is you will receive an email. New subscribers will receive an email. You fill that in, and your name's in the mix for the tickets. Existing subscribers, you'll be getting an email in your inbox. Fill it in, send it back, and you'll be in the draw for the tickets as well. The closing date is Thursday, April the 27th. Draw's going to be made on Friday, April the 28th. What a prize, Aidan. What a prize.
Yeah, it's one of our sort of best prizes. We also had the tickets for the League Cup final as well, and luckily we're able to do it again. So, if you want to be involved in the hat, if you're a current subscriber, you should already have your email with you, and then if you sign up, you'll be sent a form to fill out, as Tony said, etc. And get yourself in the mix, because it's a very good opportunity. We know not everybody's able to get tickets for these sort of games where you've been unsuccessful in the ballot, or maybe you're not signed up for a season ticket this season, so it's a good chance for you to get involved.
Kaiser's straight in there, Aidan, 420 somewhere, legend. Oh no, he's said his tickets, and they're not going anywhere. They said, so stop advertising them. He said, so there you go, Kaiser. If you think there's confidence on the screen for you right away, Aidan. So, but hey, it's all good. Now, Aidan, Celtic, some Celtic news. Big news by the sounds of it. There's a report in one of the newspapers saying that Cameron Carter-Vickers has repeatedly been playing through the pain barrier, and he will undergo knee surgery after the Scottish Cup semi-final against Rangers. Chances are he could play on Saturday and then play against Rangers, but he's been penciled in supposedly for knee surgery after that, and the likelihood that he could miss all the games after the split, so according to reports certainly in one of the newspapers. Now, it's kind of came from left field, Aidan, bit of a shock to everybody, but hey, if that's the case, then I guess it makes sense, doesn't it? Maybe that was why Kobayashi came in at Kilmarnock, because Cameron Carter-Vickers missed it. All sorts of talk about the surface as well, but that seemed a wise move. So we maybe on the downside, if Cameron Carter-Vickers is out, that's a blow, but as long as he gets himself fit and ready for starting next season, that's all good and well. But on the upside, Kobayashi came in and looked okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the player's health, that's the sort of thing everybody's concerned about most. I would be a wee bit worried if it's such a sort of serious injury or something that's bothering that is going to require surgery eventually, that he's potentially going to be playing through that in the next 2 games. I know it'd be a big miss for him not to be involved in the semi-final in particular, but that would be potentially a bit of a concern for me. Obviously, Kobayashi, just since you touched on him there, Tony, he's been pretty impressive in the matches he's came into play. Obviously, a semi-final against Rangers, that would be a step up, and it would probably be the sort of biggest assessment of his defensive ability so far if he was to feature in that match. But obviously, all eyes will be on Andrew's presser on Friday to see what he's saying about it. And like you say, it makes sense why he didn't play in particular on Sunday just there, given the surface. Because if you've got an injury like that, I'd imagine playing a whole 90 minutes on a plastic pitch is probably not the best thing for that sort of knock. But yeah, look, it's just a bit of a worry, no doubt about that. And it would be a shame, even if he did play the next 2 games, if he then wasn't involved in any of the last 5 matches in the split, and then potentially a Scottish Cup final if Celtic were to get there. So it would definitely be a blow. But like I say, the main priority is his health and making sure he's okay.
Yeah, lots of comments coming in. William Martin, morning, William, how are you doing? Let's hope that Cameron Carter-Vickers is not out for the rest of the season. And Gone Yourself says, so Cameron Carter-Vickers has knee injury, may possibly play the semi-final and then no more for the season due to possible knee operation. That's what basically the report's saying. Wombat saying Cameron Carter-Vickers and Abada also in Cotton Wool.
Hatate as well.
Yeah, Hatate. He'll saying Cameron Carter-Vickers available for the next 2 games and the option for surgery to be ready for the start of next season. Again, that's what the kind of reports are saying. Aidan and then Alan was saying hopefully Cameron Carter-Vickers can put the Rangers out of the semi, then get his op and be ready for pre-season. Marky saying, morning guys, how are you all doing? Explain why he missed the Kelly carpet. So it's morning guys, great conversation today. Hail, go, says George Townsley. Cheers, George. Still lots more to come, hopefully. And also, guys, we're also talking Tommy Burns. Tommy Burns made his debut for Celtic on this day against Dundee in 1975. Get your memories of Tommy Burns in the comment section and we'll discuss them later in the show. But yeah, it's a kind of temporary setback, Aidan, if you look at it that way, because as I say, the news of his knee injury, of Cameron Carter-Vickers' knee injury, came from left field. But if, as the report is saying, he's okay to play against Motherwell and Rangers, then I'm assuming it's nothing too serious. But then again, we'll not know until Friday, as usual, till Ange enlightens us. But it's I would think if it was your knee, then you maybe wouldn't want to take any chances at all. But again, I'm only going on what reports are saying, that he's maybe scheduled to play these 2 games, and then if he has been playing with it recently.
Yeah, obviously we don't know how long he's had this knock. He wasn't included in the USA squad on the last international break, and I think there was a sort of kind of rumour kicking about then that he maybe had a wee knock. I know he did play all the matches for Celtic, similar to Greg Taylor with the Scotland situation, but it does worry me a bit if he's got something that they think is going to require surgery, that he's suddenly he's okay for these next 2 matches. I don't know if I really like the sound of that, Tony. I know players have played through the pain barrier plenty of times before, they maybe get injections or something like that to sort of temporarily prevent the pain, but I just worry about that. I mean, I know Carter-Vickers is such an important player. Someone maybe even goes far to say he's the most important player in the squad at times, particularly in a match you might be up against it a wee bit more like the semi-final. But it's one of those ones, do you want a potentially injured player going in there as much as he's a great talent? I don't know. I know there will be a sort of mentality of we just need to get him through that semi-final, but I would just worry of the fact he's going to need surgery immediately after that. So he's already going in pretty sore, I would guess. We'll need to get more insight from Ange, whether or not we get a full breakdown from him. He might just go, "Oh no, he's okay now, mate," or something like that. You know what he's like.
Or he felt sore.
Yeah, exactly. But I do worry that it potentially maybe is quite serious if it's something that's going to need surgery. But we'll need to get proper context.
I don't think Ange Postecoglou would take any chances. Players' health, as you say that right at the start, is of paramount importance, and we know players always want to play. Some are better at coping with pain barriers than others, I guess. But yeah, I don't think Celtic would take. actually have to take any unnecessary risks, do they?
Not against Motherwell, I would say, anyway, for the next match, Tony. The only one that could be the consideration would be the Rangers game, but if it is something that did require surgery, every other game you would say Celtic should have more than enough to deal with what's in front of them. But you could even argue that really the squad is strong for the Rangers game. Obviously, you would want Carter-Vickers there, but we know the defence has been pretty solid this season. We've praised Kobayashi when he's came in. When Starfelt, he's played well against Rangers in the past. I know he might have struggled in that game at Ibrox, but I thought he sort of redeemed himself a bit with the 3-2 game recently, and I actually thought it was Carter-Vickers that maybe struggled a wee bit more in that game, maybe potentially carrying a knock now that we've seen more detail. I don't know, but there's still quality there, so I like to think, and I think you're right about Ange, that he wouldn't be risked if it was potentially plays in that match and then ends up out longer than just till the end of the season, extend into the next campaign, because that would be a massive blow if Carter-Vickers was to have an extended period out of the team leading into the next league campaign. You would be really worried then. So fingers crossed that hopefully he's okay. Maybe it is just one of those reports that doesn't come to pass, but if there is a knock there that's requiring surgery, I like to think Celtic wouldn't risk it.
Medical staff will keep Ange right about playing him. Yeah, of course, I'm sure Ange will be all over it as well, but it's just kind of a shock to wake up this morning and kind of see that, but and Charlie McGarvey coming in makes sense to get through the semi-final and the league almost done. Look at the bigger picture for next season. Yep, I'm all in agreement with that. It just shows you how much he's been a colossus, Aidan. But the very thought of him being out of the team sends everybody into kind of panic mode. But then Kobayashi comes in on Sunday and life's not so bad, is it? You just sort of think, okay, if Cameron Carter-Vickers has to have surgery, then let him get it. We like this guy. He's not too bad.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Kobayashi was very impressive at the weekend. We discussed that on Monday, how he's looked cooked every time he's played really for Celtic so far, even though it's been quite limited, and it must be hard knowing that when both Carter-Vickers and Starfelt have been fully fit, it's going to be unlikely that he's starting any games. So you're training all week, and then unless there's a knock or something, you're probably not going to be involved. So fair play to him, because he's had to just come in out of the cold a couple of times, such as at Tynecastle and then at Rugby Park recently. I've been really impressed with him. The thing is, he's probably not had to do a lot of defending so far. I know for the goal that Celtic did concede at the weekend, he actually did try to provide. It was quite a good defensive block, and then the way it worked out, the ball sort of just kind of broke. But that's probably the most defending he's had to do so far. I would suggest that it'll probably be similar next week at home at Motherwell. I don't think he'll have a lot to do, but the semi-final would probably be a real test of his defensive ability. And obviously, ideally, if Carter-Vickers is there and he's all right, he will play. But yeah, it's a chance for Kobayashi. I mean, after everybody's talking about me included, he might not be involved a lot this season. We said it for Iwata as well. We're looking forward to the next campaign. Potentially now he could have 6-7 games ahead of him.
Yes.
And he could end the season having played probably a lot more football than anybody would have expected. So I guess if you look at it alternatively, it's potentially an opportunity for him.
Yeah. Paul Dyack coming in. Morning, Paul says the fact he's able to play and delay the operation seems to me that it's nothing that serious. Again, we'll get a better prognosis of the situation when Ange speaks on Friday. Keimatsu, Yuki Kobayashi and Carol Starfelt will be just fine. They were fine on Sunday, weren't they? So, as I say, we've spoken about that then. And Andrew Gillia also says Starfelt looks more comfortable on the right. Kobayashi will stand up. Well, Kobayashi is on the natural left-sided centre-back. So yes, that's... I mean, everybody liked to look at that central defensive pairing on Sunday, so I wouldn't have no problems or no qualms. My major concern is that Cameron Carter-Vickers heals and goes through the recovery and rehabilitation process and gets the surgery that's required so that he does come back, to quote the manager, bigger, better and stronger. Aidan,
that's the hope.
Sorry, there you go.
No, I'm just going to say that's the hope, obviously, that any surgery he does get, it's nothing too serious. Kobayashi and Starfelt, that's 3 times they've started and played together now. If they play against Motherwell, that'll be 4. So going into that semi-final, it's not like there's been games in the past, maybe against Rangers, when particularly in a back 2 pairing, or sorry, a back 4, but the centre half pairing in that there's maybe 1 or 2 guys are featuring for the first time together. 5 games is a decent amount, as well as obviously a few months training. I'm sure involved in defensive drills, etc. So they will be quite familiar with each other. Nobody is familiar as Carter-Vickers and Starfelt, but it's quite hard to be that familiar when they've played so much across 2 seasons. But yeah, well, I don't have really any worries about Kobayashi at the moment. It's just saying that it will be more of a test for him than obviously it's been in any of the other games, and potentially any other games that he plays in after that for the rest of the season. That could be sort of toughest test, but look, he's looked impressive so far. The manager obviously fancies him. If Kobayashi's starting with Starfelt, I'm not going to immediately think Celtic aren't going to win the semi-final. It's just obviously if Carter-Vickers is there and he's fit, you would rather he was in.
Hazel Finn saying, not worried at all. Ange has it covered. She loves Cameron Carter-Vickers, but impressed also with Starfelt and Kobayashi. Jason Lee, morning Jason. Kobayashi looks class. And Michael Ross with world problems here, Aidan. Never mind these. He's just plucked a nasal hair and his eyes are watering. That can be a sore one, Michael. Yes, indeed. And Derek Crawford coming in with a wee reminder that Iwata and Alistair Johnson can also play centre back if required. If Celtic have got lots of injuries, yeah. So indeed, now as I said, Tommy Burns made his debut on this day, Aidan. 1975 against Dundee. Lots of comments coming in about Tommy Burns, so we'll flick some of them up, shall we? And the reason I'm saying that is because I spoke to Barry Smith for a big interview, and he also spoke in glowing terms about Tommy Burns, and he said that he was closest thing to the perfect human being that he's ever met in his life. And I'll put it in the comments section. You can have a read. It's on the website today. It's a wonderful tribute to basically a wonderful man. And there it is. It's in the comment section. If you go into the website, you can read that today. But there's Kaiser first up, which he remembers making his first Holy Communion, and Tommy was on the TV that day as Celtic won the cup, and he spoke about the fans. They're there and they're always there, and God bless every one of them, was Tommy Burns' words. Aidan. So Tommy Burns, Blaines a bat, handed out the medals when our primary school won the county cup. St Columbus, Alan Woods. Tommy Burns, a true Celtic man. And Rabbi Boy comes in with the famous chant, Tommy Twist, Tommy Turns, Tommy Burns. And Marquis also says the same, Tommy Twist, Tommy Burns. And I like this from Patrick McLaughlin. He was in the main stand loading up the pie stalls for the next game, and Tommy passed by and decided to lift a box of Celtic chocolate and hide it from him, which he thought was very amusing. Excellent. Keep these coming in, guys. I'm going to share one of my own stories about Tommy Burns. Shared it with Aidan off air just before we came on. And, excuse me, I left uni 1995. I just graduated with a honours degree in English and politics, and I wanted to be a football journalist. And one of the first things I did was ask the Celtic View if I could do some work experience. So that was promptly arranged, and I went in on the Monday, collar and tie, suited and booted, and dressed like that for the rest of the week, because I thought I'd try and create a good impression. And I think they either went to print on the Thursday or the Friday, I can't actually remember, but the day before they went to print, Tommy Burns, who was the manager of Celtic at the time, walked into the room, the Celtic View room, and kind of looked at Andrew Smith, who was the editor, Joe Sullivan, Merrill Brown, who were writers, and then clocked me and said, there's a new face. So Andrew Smith said, that's Tony Haggerty. Young, he's just graduated as a student, wants to be a football journalist. Tommy Burns says, hiya Tony, how you doing? I said, I'm fine, Mr. Burns, I'm fine. Gave him his title, Aidan Mr. Burns, because I didn't want to call him Tommy because I didn't know him. And he said, come with me, Tony. And we walked down the corridor and into a room, and he took a seat behind the desk and told me to sit down. And for the next 10 minutes, I can only describe it as something that's lived with me forever. And he just sort of spoke about family, football, Celtic. And it was kind of wonderful. And I just sort of sat there, and he asked me if I was a family man, and I told him I was. I went to see Celtic with my dad and my brother. He was like, "Oh, that's good, that's good." And he asked me about the team, the current team. Asked me about teams I'd seen in the past. Who did I enjoy? Who were my heroes? And all that kind of stuff. And amongst that, I told him my mum and dad were my heroes. And he said, "That's great." And he was just, he was fantastic. So when Barry Smith's saying he's the closest thing to a perfect human being, I was only 23 at the time, and I was sitting face to face with a Celtic manager. And it was just one of those surreal career experiences. And then he just got me in between the heart. And he said, "Just listening to you, Tony." And I'm just like, "Yeah." And he went, "You were born to support this football club. I can see it in your eyes, I can see it in your heart, and I can see it in your soul. You're a good Celtic man." And I was like, "Is there any other kind?" And he said, "Exactly." And he was like, "You're a credit to yourself and a credit to your family. Well done in graduating, and I wish you well in life and your career, your chosen career." He said, "And if you want to speak to any of the first team players this week," he says, "or next week if you're back," he says, "just chat my door." He says, "Now I'll arrange that for you with no problem." And I said, "Great." And he went, "Lovely to talk to you, a pleasure." He said, and then he was like, "Keep the faith and hail, hail," and all that. And I was just awestruck for the first time ever, I think, by a football person. And I went back to the room and I sat down, and I think all three of them, Merrill, Joe and Andy, just sort of left me be for a wee while, because I think they knew I'd been hit over the head in a mallet style with a Tommy Burns Stardust. And he was a class act, a wonderful, wonderful human being. Can't speak highly enough of him. And that was my one and only dealings with Tommy Burns. But everybody I've spoken to in the profession say there wasn't a more kinder and decent and wonderful man. And yeah, and as I say, I spent 10 minutes with him, and it's still, you can hear it in my voice, still leaves me emotional. And yeah, it was cracking. He was a wonderful guy, and yeah, I just thought I would share that with you, because yeah, these things are important. He told me family was more important than football. He was a big family man, Aidan, and I think everybody knows how much he valued his faith as well. And yeah, it was excellent. I say it's still stuck with me, and I don't know why, but I just kind of thought I would share that with you today, and it feels good to sort of share that. Aidan, your own memories of Tommy Burns, you spoke off air, and you said that the year Celtic won the title, 2008, when Tommy sadly passed away, was your first year of being at football home and away.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, that's some story, Tony. There's no way I'm going to be able to follow that. That was phenomenal. Sort of the measure of the man, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, oh god, yeah.
Yeah, what a story, and obviously the fact, despite it being a wee while ago, the fact you can sort of relate so vividly shows how much it must have meant to you. And yeah, being across from the Celtic manager when you were that age, that's like the dream, isn't it? Really, for any sort of Celtic fan, particularly somebody obviously like yourself that wanted to be a journalist. But yeah, my story really is sad. I've never met Tommy Burns, etc. But probably maybe it's more of a bit of a sad one. But it was also that season Celtic won the league. 07-08, that was my sort of first campaign of going to quite a few games, etc. And yeah, obviously we know that was the year that Tommy Burns had sadly passed away, and it was all about getting the title for Tommy and that sort of run. Celtic were I think 6 points behind with 9-7. I know Sean did that later recently, so I should remember the specifics. It was either 7 or 9 games to go. I can't remember, but Rangers also had 2 games in hand, etc. And the odds were very much against the team at the time. You can go and find the reports after they lost 1-0 at home to Motherwell House, saying the league was pretty much done. And obviously you look back and go, oh, they were so wrong. But I think at the time everybody probably felt that way. So it's probably as all relevant at that moment. But yeah, obviously Tommy Burns did sadly pass away. He was part of the coaching staff under Strachan at the time. And the Celtic went on, and it was a pretty dramatic turnaround, probably one of the most, really, at least in the last 25, 30 years anyway. I know last season's special for a lot of people, but that campaign was a pretty mental turnaround, playing against a decent Rangers team at that time. It obviously got to the UEFA Cup final that year, so Yeah, that was my sort of kind of memory, was just all that, and then obviously, you know, all the tributes to Tommy Burns, his funeral and that, etc. So yeah, not anywhere near as a vivid sort of memory as you've got, Tony. But
No.
yeah, I just thought it was worth sort of including that since we were talking.
Oh no, but everybody's got their own memories of Tommy Burns, haven't they? And you spoke about that season. Gordon Strachan spoke wonderfully about him when he passed away that day. And Gordon Strachan had to face the cameras, and goodness knows how he did it, but he spoke terrifically about him. And there's also that at his funeral when Billy that patted the coffin, said, "I'll miss you, old pal." I remember that too. Quite sad.
I think as well from
he
that,
built a brilliant team.
Yeah,
Tommy Burns as well. Lost once to Rangers, and still lost the league by 4 points. But that brilliant football team, that attacking team with the three amigos and all that, I don't think anybody who loves us football does not love that Tommy Burns team.
And I think as well, like you say, Tony, unfortunately Celtic did have quite a little success during that period, but it's probably a testament, once again, I know probably you and a lot of people in the comments will know a lot more, I will know a lot better than me about how good that team was. Don't need me to tell them that, but it does obviously show you how much quality there is in it, that despite there was sort of teams after that, you know, Martin O'Neill's team, etc.
Yeah.
Even Stratton's team that maybe wasn't the most technical, but won quite a lot. That Tommy Burns team, despite not really winning much or if anything really apart from that Scottish Cup, it is still viewed as one of people's favourite times, one of the best teams to watch, and that shows you how quality the football obviously was at that time, Tony. I mean, you wouldn't really get that now, would you? That
No.
Celtic played, you know, they might have played decent football, but it was a season that didn't lead to anything, only led to one trophy. It would probably very rarely be looked back on as, you know, what a time and what a style of play. So that once again shows you how good a coach and how good a manager he was as well as a person.
Yeah, Chilpel saying Tommy made Gordon Strachan a Celtic. He most certainly did. And what a team Celtic had under Tommy, loved everything about them. Tosh McKinley always says to me that it's one of the most revered Celtic teams in its history. Yeah, as you say, they won one Scottish Cup, but it was because of the kind of joy that team brought to everybody and the way they played. Kaiser saying Tommy's team right up there, free-flowing football the Celtic way. Yep. And I think Burns was just unlucky because at the timing of everything, because he was under pressure to kind of try and stop Rangers from from achieving the 9 and all that. And I think Tommy would have stopped Rangers had he been there, you know, a season or two longer. But yeah, it's everybody. Yeah, Alan Wood's coming in with the famous, when you pull on that jersey, you're not playing for a football club, you're playing for a people and a cause. That's exactly what I got from speaking to him that time, Alan. Exactly what I felt. And I've always felt that Tommy Burns summed up playing for Celtic. I think it was his autobiography, and he said, you know, he was talking about the kind of goldfish bowl and the lifestyle in Glasgow, and Tommy Burns said, one half of the city thinks they own you, the other half hate you. And I thought, what a wonderful way of summing that up. You know, it's but he just had a wonderful way with people and a wonderful way with words. And as I say, Barry Smith was lucky to play under him, but he also talks about the day he sat down with Tommy Burns and he realised that his Celtic dream was over. It was Tommy that broke it to him, but Tommy told him he would be a footballer elsewhere. And that turned out to be the case. He became a bit of a cult icon and a legend in Dundee. And he said he couldn't have chosen anybody nicer to break that kind of news to him. And it was that kind of softened the blow a bit. But he was just a wise man. Wonderful man. Yep. Patrick McLaughlin said he remembers Tommy dancing at the Celtic end and Roy can get up to get the trophy. Yes. Yeah. Excellent. Loving these stories, guys, about Tommy Burns. Glad you enjoyed mine. Oof, I nearly went there, Aidan. I was close.
No wonder, but Tony, I mean, some of those stories are phenomenal, and that one about when obviously you had the chance to meet him at the time. You know, it's Celtic manager. It's probably outside of maybe a player. So at that time, it's probably the person you idolise most, or your family. Sorry, I should even say, probably the person you idolise most at that time. I mean, we were discussing now if I was in that situation, for example, and it was like, just me and Ange or something. I don't know what I would say if it was in that environment, rather than obviously like, you know, a press environment. If it was just like a sort of one-on-one just chat, yeah, it'd be amazing. But yeah, no, some stories, Tony, and thanks very much for sharing them, because I think a lot of the commenters enjoyed that.
I'll contrast that with a day later, Fergus McCann came in. And he was like, "Here's a new face." I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "We're not paying this guy, are we?" He's like, "No, he's on work experience." that was a compare and contrast exercise. You know what I mean?
Go back down to earth, Tommy.
Fergus was like, "He's not on the wage roll." You know what I mean? The payroll, get him out of here. And I was just like, "No, work experience." So yeah, that made me laugh when I kind of looked. Compared the two of them, you know, the way they kind of treated me, which was quite funny, to be fair. But yes, guys, hope you've enjoyed that. That's half an hour, obviously, of top Celtic chat with Cameron Carter-Vickers, impending knee surgery, and memories of Tommy Burns. Blinds are back. Tommy was the first person you thought of when you thought of Celtic. There you go. So I think you can have much higher compliment than that, can you, Aidan?
No, you can't. You can't.
And all this history, all these stories, this is what makes us Celtic timing on. Yep, indeed, it is. Yep, very much so. But yes, I'll just direct you to the ticker tape running along the bottom, guys. Got to get involved in this. You can win 2 tickets, Celtic and Rangers, Scottish Cup semi-final. There it is, up on your screen there. It's all for the click of a button. Thanks everybody that contributed this morning with your Tommy stories. Love that. I love doing things like that, and I love giving you a wee insight if I have any insight about certain people and protagonists. And I hope you don't mind that I indulge you this morning with the Tommy Burns story, because I just thought it was pertinent. I do it every now and again, Aidan. But yeah, get involved in this. Celtic and Rangers Scottish Cup semi-final tickets up for grabs. Chance to see Celtic have a go at achieving a bit of history, Aidan. No clubs won 8 domestic trebles. Celtic play Rangers for the chance to do that in the semi-final Sunday, April 30th at Hampden, and it'll cost you £4 for 4 months of unlimited access to everything that we do on the website. Everything that's written, you'll see that Barry Smith Tommy Burns story today. Closing date's 27th of April, guys. Thursday, Friday, April 28th, the draw for the tickets will be made. Click of a button, you know what I'm going to say, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. And we also say thank you to SENECA. And as everybody knows, the Celtic Way morning briefing is now sponsored by SENECA Medical Group. SENECA are the #1 hair transplant company in Europe, and they offer innovative hair restoration treatments. And you can find out more about SENECA via the links in the description of the video. Guys, if you want to know how the ticket thing works, what's going on? There we are. We're back.
You're back in the room, Tony. You're back. We're back
in the room. Now, the ticket thing works. If you're a new subscriber, you'll get an email, a forum. Fill in the forum, send it back. And if you're an existing subscriber, there'll be an email dropping into your inbox. If you haven't filled that in already, fill that in, and you'll be in the mix for the tickets, Aidan. Can I say fairer than that, can we? Great prize.
No, you can. It's obviously a really good opportunity for people that maybe were unsuccessful in the ballot, or they didn't have a chance to get a ticket this season for the semi-final. We obviously offered the prize for the League Cup final against Rangers, and we got a lot of good feedback on that. So get yourself involved, as well as obviously the opportunity to win the tickets. Your subscription will give you access to interviews such as the one you conducted, Tony, as long as I will host a back catalogue of interviews as well, tactical pieces, scouting pieces, which obviously will be interesting with the transfer window coming up June, July time, and then also weekly columns, some more columns with Kevin McKenna. So get yourself involved if you haven't already.
Nice one. And all I can say is thank you for your contribution today, Aidan. Really enjoyed that. Excellent stuff. Guys, hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. We'll do it all again tomorrow, 10 o'clock-ish, Aidan, isn't it? Round about that
usually, yeah, Tony, usually. Is what I would say.
Indeed. And just before we go, somebody put a comment saying, memory of Tommy Burns off
that's a good one.
Was him singing Mac the Knife. Yeah. Yep, there you go. And you know that song, don't you, Aidan? Do you know
I
that
do
song?
indeed,
You
yes.
familiar with that?
I'll be
Yes.
honest, the first time I heard it was from that video of Tommy
That
Burns
right?
singing it, but yeah.
Ah, brilliant. And he shows them pearly white. There you go. I'll just flash up my nationals there. Don't know if they're pearly white, but they look at pearly white. Yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you for all your Tommy Burns contribution today. Glad you enjoyed it. Aidan, excellent. Cheers for that. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. All the best.
Cheers, guys.